Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, House Speaker Halson Moutry under fire. Find out why. Video of a fight at the University of the Bahamas goes viral. An Abaco youth parliamentarian shares his story of surviving Hurricane Dorian.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Opposition leader Philip Davis tonight slamming House Speaker Halson Moutry, whom he says has once again demonstrated he is unfit to serve in that role. Moutry, who is no stranger to controversy, came under fire again after he ordered that a reporter's cell phone be confiscated during parliamentary proceedings and instructed his staff to delete photos from the device.
In the gallery, the reporter, it is against the rules of this house, and that has been explained when we had the disturbance in this house, for any reporter to use their cell phone in this chamber and to take photographs or videos in this chamber.
That was the moment eyes turned from the floor of the House of Assembly to the gallery on Wednesday as House Speaker Halson Moutry stopped a contribution by Exuma's and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper to inform Nassau Guardian reporter Jasper Ward that she could not use her phone to take photos or video in Parliament without his permission.
And so on this occasion, I request that you turn your cell phone over to the clerk and to have that portion of the video that you just recorded deleted from your cell phone. And in future, seek the permission of the chair before you are permitted and allowed to take any video footage within the chamber.
The reporter didn't record any video, but in fact took a photo of Cooper while making his contribution to accompany her story. While the photo was deleted in front of Parliament staff, technology got the best of them. A folder with deleted images made the photo available once again. Currently, there is no ban against members of the media taking photos with their cell phone of a member making a contribution. It's something Central and South Andros MP Paisel Forbes took issue with, given the fact that members of the Prime Minister's PR and social media team use their cell phones in Parliament regularly to capture video.
What specific commentary are you taking about that?
Speaker, if a reporter is in this place to report the stories as they're taking place in this place, members of the office of the Prime Minister staff comes in here daily and use their phone. Honourable member, let me stop you. Resume your seat for a moment.
One person who isn't here for Moutry's performance in Parliament, opposition leader Philip Davis.
He's not fit for that role. He may be better suited elsewhere.
Davis and Moutry have butt heads numerous times in Parliament, as recently as Tuesday, when Davis sought to make a point of order.
You rise on a point of order.
Yeah, I said
so, which was improper.
Why, Mr. Speaker?
Because it wasn't a point of order.
Just last year, Davis moved the vote of no confidence in the House Speaker after Moutry slammed a retired civil servant and took jabs at Davis's wife. Davis said aside from lacking clarity on certain rules of the House, Moutry seems to demonstrate his inability to be fair to both sides in his role as Speaker.
I have spoken to him personally and privately about the manner in which he conducts himself as Speaker. Unfortunately, I don't think that the Speaker has the disposition to be non-partisan.
The Dean of Students at the University of the Bahamas speaking out after a video of students fighting on campus went viral. Giorgio Bain has the story.
Officials here at the University of the Bahamas are defending the institution following the release of a viral video of 2 students involved in an altercation here on campus. Now, according to officials, the incident is under active investigation, but they are taking a zero-tolerance stance for violence. In this video captured on the steps of the university's Harry Seymour Library, the 17 and 18-year-old girls get into a heated physical altercation that lasted for several minutes as several different persons, including a security officer, attempted to break up the fight. The incident is now under active investigation, and according to Stubbs, the students could face expulsion.
Well, the university has a strong stance as it relates to violence on campus. The Student Code of Conduct speaks directly to that as a major offense. There are different phases that we will look at, whether it's direct interim suspension or extended suspension or expulsion from the university.
The investigation could take anywhere between 5 days to a month. Those students who recorded the incident could also be in hot water, according to the dean.
In our policy, it speaks to the use of social media to damage the image of someone else. So that's already within our policy as a violation. So we are actively looking for those students that were involved in the creating of such a social media buzz.
Many persons questioned where campus security was at the time of the incident, as only one security officer could be seen attempting to separate the teen girls. Stubbs said he believes that there are sufficient security officers on campus.
All of our active buildings on campus have security personnel and or campus police stationed in them for safety purposes. I'm sure in the video you would have seen a campus security that would have came out and attempted to facilitate separating the altercation. So I personally don't believe that there is a lack of support when it relates to our security presence on campus.
Reporting for our news, I'm Georgia Bain.
Exumas and Ragged Island Member of Parliament Chester Cooper is calling on government to make Abaco and Grand Bahama VAT-free as they begin to rebuild their lives and homes. Jillian Gray reports.
As Abaco and Grand Bahama residents struggle to recover in the wake of deadly and catastrophic Hurricane Dorian, Deputy Leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, Chester Cooper, called on the government to waive value-added tax on the storm-ravaged islands.
Where there's no economic activity, there's no tax to be collected anyhow. So we must certainly get on with moving these economies along, Mr. Speaker. There is great concern on the ground with respect to the filing of VAT, Abaco and Grand Bahama, Mr. Speaker, and I asked the tax authorities to exercise compassion. Persons have no computers, no spreadsheets, no electricity in many cases, but they are being demanded to produce these filings in record time, Mr. Speaker. I ask this government to continue to exercise compassion.
Prime Minister Hubert Minnis has said the affected islands would become special economic recovery zones. Cooper also accused the Minnis administration of playing partisan politics when thousands of people are suffering.
I read the Prime Minister's speech. It was highly partisan in nature. There were a lot of nonsense about the drug era. There was not enough about the plans for the future, for the medium and the long term. These questions as it relate to the people who are suffering and frustrated on the ground, these questions were not answered.
Cooper insisted that residents of those islands feel abandoned and confused in the absence of a clear long-term plan. He asked what will happen after the temporary housing period is over, when will airport terminals reopen, and what will happen when international groups and volunteers move on.
What will happen when the free food is done? There is no work, Mr. Speaker. What is the plan? And the people want specific plans. People are grateful to the international community, but they're unemployed still, and they're very concerned, and rightfully so. So when we come here, Mr. Speaker, people don't want to hear all of this back-patting and self-praise and political vitriolic speeches, Mr. Speaker. The people are hurting.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
A 16-year-old youth parliamentarian says he endured Hurricane Dorian's wrath without parental supervision. Jared Hicks tells us about the teenager's ordeal.
I was just saying, Lord, just don't make us die, because I I just activated my faith at that moment, and I was saying I had to get through this.
16-year-old youth MP for North Abaco, Roland Paul, and his 13-year-old sister survived Hurricane Dorian all on their own.
We were actually separated from our parents during the storm, so me and my sister had to weather the storm out by ourselves, and it was very, very dangerous.
Paul, who recently transferred to Queen's College after fleeing storm-ravaged Abaco, says his parents were called into work mid-storm to secure important documents. As a result, he and his younger sister were left to fend for themselves.
We found safety in the bathtub, and we had to wait till an Australian guy at the Regattas condo had to come and save us out of the storm during that time.
On Friday, Paul and dozens of other youth MPs will participate in the 22nd National Youth Parliament, nearly 2 months on from the storm. And with thousands of Abaconians still trying to get their lives back on track, the 11th grader says his message will be one of hope.
What I would love to do is to become a voice for the voiceless. I would love to bring my plans actually to the table to represent my Abaconians out there who's looking for a word, who's looking for a strong message of hope, to tell them that Abaco will be changed, it will be transformed, and Abaco will be restored back to normalcy.
Dorian's devastation spared few on Abaco and Grand Bahama. Dozens of people are confirmed dead, with hundreds of others still missing. 16-year-old Jerry Summers is the youth MP for Central and South Abaco. She wasn't in Abaco during the storm, but says it was heartbreaking watching the devastation from a distance.
Everyone was just in hope that their family and friends are okay, and it really shows us the impact climate change is having on our country.
Hurricane Dorian stories are often a mix of despair and hope. Paul says he lost a cousin during the storm, and his mother's office building was destroyed. Luckily, he says the family home in Winding Bay, South Abaco is still intact. With everything they've gone through, the teenager says if another powerful storm heads their way, they won't stick around.
Our next plan is to move to another island, which is not being affected by the storm during that time.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared.
Veteran broadcaster Kelsey Johnson has died. He passed away this morning. Former Prime Minister Perry Christie remembered the former PLP senator and stalwart councillor as an outstanding nation builder, public servant, diplomat of distinction, a close friend and valued ally. Christie said in a statement, when history of media in the Bahamas is written, Kelsey Johnson will be featured prominently and profoundly. PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell called Johnson a man of many parts who supported the progressive cause to the end and never wavered. Mitchell also hailed Johnson as one of the pioneers who transformed ZNS radio and television. He also served as High Commissioner to Ottawa. He was a PLP candidate in the 1992 general election. Still to come, the Christian Council continues storm relief efforts. Plus, a training session for the Citizen Security and Justice Program wraps up. Stay tuned.